You too. I hope y'all are doing good, staying safe, practicing social distancing and all that. That's just like overall good practice, even when COVID's not a thing. It's just good to just give people a bubble. You ain't gotta be 6 feet, but give me at least arm distance. You feel me? But there's just some times where you can't help that. But I hope you guys are actually staying safe. You know what I mean? Giving thanks for the things you do have for sure. Everyone's got something to be thankful for. If you're watching this YouTube video, then you definitely got something to be thankful for. You're able to have time to watch a YouTube video and the access to internet and the access to YouTube and stuff. Whereas some kids are really out here struggling at war with other villages around them and stuff, and like carrying AK-47s when they're like old enough to carry a gun and shoot it. So just be thankful. I mean, I'm not looking down on them, but I'm thankful that my children don't have to do that. So that's what I'm thankful for. Everyone has something to be thankful for. If you have eyes and you can see, you should be thankful for that. If you have ears and you can hear, you should be thankful for that. But like I said, I apologize for being so unkept. And I wanted to kind of apologize about that because that's what today's topic is about. It's about the art of potting, the etiquette of YouTube, and how to get on camera and present your content. And it's been something I've been watching because I actually enjoy podcasts. I actually like listening to different people's perspectives on things because you'll never know everything, you know what I mean? And there's always someone who knows more than you. And I just like listening to how people view certain topics or whatever. So some podcasts are way more enjoyable than others, whereas with someone like me, I'm super critical of whatever I'm watching. I'm looking at what efforts they took to present their medium. Whereas with me, I'm super low budget. I'm not giving a lot of effort. I'm just trying to get the content out. And it's just like, I don't really have, of course my goal is to have millions of subscribers and people. Even if I'm not making money, I'm influencing a lot of people towards the right thing. So that's my goal. And if I end up posting a lot of videos, thousands of videos, and don't get a buzz, then that goal might not even be achieved until after I'm dead, and I'm completely fine with that. Like, the goal of this channel is to, like I said, get millions of people digesting the positivity and rapidly sharing it amongst themselves instead of sharing negativity and like beefs and stuff. So that's the goal of my channel. It's not necessarily I'm not making money, I'm not asking for donations, and it's just like, once you start getting to that level to where you're making money and people are investing into you as far as like their pocketbooks, then to me it gets to that point to where it's not quantity, it's quality. All right, if you're doing high quantity stuff like if you're going up to people on the sidewalk everyday type stuff and you're putting out a lot of that, I'm not expecting it to be like the perfect scenario, perfect person every time, because there's just some stuff where it's just like the quality can only be so high. Whereas someone like Joe Rogan, it's like, dude, you're sitting across the table from Elon Musk. I don't want to not hear what he says. I don't want to not hear what you say. I don't want you interrupting Elon Musk when he's talking. I don't want you to allow Elon Musk to get pissed off and not be comfortable enough to where he can do this pod and feel like he's just not being as genuine as he can. So Joe Rogan's literally like the gold standard of podding right now, right? And so it's just like, if you start basing your criteria off of him, it's like, yeah, he's got a high level of like psychology and things like nonverbal gestures and the way he carries conversations. That comes at a high quality just because of the sheer volume and how his brain works. Like he's not a stubborn non-humble person. He's super humble, you know what I mean? He understands that he just came from a stand-up comic, but at the same time he's just like, when Joe Rogan starts asserting himself, it's kind of just like, nah, dude, you gonna respect me, dude. I really came up out the mud. You're just some dude that's trying to bark at me on my pod. You know what I'm saying? You like Joe Rogan, like, all right, this is when he did Neil deGrasse Tyson, okay? That can be sort of looked at as a blemish on his record, but at the same time, that's what I'm saying. He's not super to where he's just like college educated in the art of dialogue. Like he's not like he hasn't sat down and studied how to talk to another person or a group of people one-on-one. Like he didn't go to college for that. He wasn't like raised by like super smart people who always talk. Like he wasn't like bred for that, like kind of how Drake was bred for that sort of thing. Like, Joe Rogan's kind of just a regular dude who just so happened to be kind of smart and funny. So he's on there with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and Neil deGrasse Tyson is like, his whole basically life he's been trained to be this brainiac scientist. And so he has this sort of like, I wouldn't say it's egotistical, but it's sort of like you can definitely tell that Neil deGrasse Tyson lacks cultural relativity. Because it's just like, dude, it's just like everyone ain't just super smart like you know what I mean? So he's on Joe Rogan's podcast and constantly cutting him off and like talking over him and yelling at him. And Joe Rogan, they don't have a friendship outside of it, and he's kind of getting mad, and so he kind of in my opinion, he could have handled it a lot better, but that's how critical I am of these podcasts. Even though a normal person would have probably seen that and be like, oh, I thought that was fine. I apologize for smoking on camera too, but what I really wanted to talk about was, like I said, the art of podding. When you present yourself to me, I want to feel like you're offering me a quality product. So my favorite pod in years past was the Joe Rogan podcast with Rory and Maul. I didn't like the Joe Rogan podcast because of Rory and Maul. I didn't like the Joe Budden podcast because Joe Budden. I liked the Joe Rogan podcast because it was the three of them talking about stuff that I didn't mind listening to, and they were just chill, funny dudes. And I didn't look down on them in any way because I only knew them from the Joe Budden podcast. So they had a viewer in me. So when they do the breakup, the way Joe handled the breakup, it made me, I feel like Joe alienated his fans that only watched him because of the three of them. He kind of just left us like, because there's no way that if you don't know about Joe Budden, and you don't personally like him, there's no way that you come out of that situation and not think that Rory and Mal were the underdogs and Joe Budden seemed like the bad guy, which was bad for me, because if Joe Budden and Rory and Mal would have split and it would have been very formal and not as toxic, it would have been good for me. It would have been good for everyone. Even the people who liked the three of them together would have they wouldn't have been mad about watching Joe Budden and two other dudes and Rory and Mal by themselves. They wouldn't have been mad at that. But the whole toxicity of it made it to where I don't like Joe Budden by himself. I don't like Rory, and I don't like Mal by themselves. I mean, I like the three of them together on Joe Budden's podcast. So when you paint this picture that Joe's trying to scam these guys, and instead of Joe like coming to them before everything got out of place and being like, hey man, look, you know, whatever we do, we ain't gonna put nothing on the pod like that. If we go on the pod, you know what I'm saying, before we get on this pod together, I want us to have an understanding that you my brother, like you can confide in me through all things. And if it ain't like that, we ain't going on this pod. And it's just like, he failed to do that. And so now I just look forward to Rory and Mal's show coming out. Like, I literally have watched, like, I stopped watching Joe Budden once all the smoke cleared. You know what I mean? It's like, once this isn't like an active thing anymore, I stopped watching Joe Budden and just only watched Rory and Mal, because it's like, these guys seem like more genuine, made it through all that bad stuff with light, whereas Joe Budden comes out in the darkness and looking like a bad guy, and it's just like everything he does, it sort of seems like he's spiting them. And then it's just like, why would you lose a fan who you could have kept and kept partnerships with Rory and Mal to where y'all could have done pods forever together, and it didn't have to be weekly or monthly. Y'all could have did pods every 6 months. Y'all could have did guest pods. Like, y'all could have made some major stuff shake, because Joe's got connects that Rory and Mal don't have. Rory and Mal have connects that Joe don't have. So now, instead of your connects exclusively messing with you and their connects exclusively messing with them, you put them on. You think they ain't gonna always give you that Jermaine Dupri interview? But that's all I wanted to say on this video. I didn't want to make a long one. I just wanted to say that that's my position on the whole thing. Like, I like Rory and Mal. Like, I've watched all their episodes, but I haven't watched Joe Budden literally since all this, like I said, all the smoke cleared. And it's just like, I don't see myself watching. Like, it could be literally nothing to watch and I would not watch it. And then like today I went to watch it and I was like, man, dude, I just had to post a comment on it. And I was like, instead of posting a comment, I'm just gonna make a video so people just watch the video and see how I felt about it. But it's just like, man, it's unfortunate that it had to end that way. It's just like, why have conflict when no one's gonna be mad if y'all split and y'all stay cool? And no one has to know it's over contractual issues. Y'all can just say, oh man, we're gonna start a new pod, whoop-de-whoop, and you just bless them in. But later.